Okay. Hello, young voters. Today I'm joined by a candidate for Downtown East High School Class of 2022's treasurer. His name is Hemel Kapadia. And Hemel, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and say hi?
Hi. Yes, as Vikas has said, I am Hamil Kapadia. I'm running for this year's senior class treasurer. And any other further questions you might have, you can always ask me.
And so would you like to provide your email, Hemel, so the audience can email you with any questions?
Yes. My email is 22hkapadia at student.dsc.org. That's spelled HKAPADIA.
Perfect. So now, Hemel, to start off, what made you want to run? Like, did you have any influences in your life that made you want to run, or did you just have a vision by yourself one day, oh, I should run for treasurer?
I felt it was more like a developed influence, as over the years being in student body leadership, I've really come to enjoy working with the students and planning some of these events that we do as a school.
That's good. Yeah. So like so if I get it right, you have a genuine passion for, I guess, planning and being in student government, right?
Yes, I do have a genuine passion for doing so.
Right. So why should the students vote for you, and what is special about your platform?
Yes. So why students should vote for me is I take things a bit more on a personal level. I am trying to plan more fundraisers this year for worthy causes, as well as look into opportunities to do service as a school to make a better legacy for our class, because not everything is necessarily about money. We also want to make sure that we earn the respect that we have as seniors.
It's good. So what makes you stand out, and what do you want to do as treasurer, and what is something that you can promise to the senior class?
Stand out. One thing that does make me stand out is that I believe that not many other candidates are planning on having votes throughout the year or discussions throughout the year with the student body to get their influence. And I strongly plan on incorporating that as part of our run this year.
That is good. Yep. Thank you. Do you have any specific policies you want to implement, or nothing like that yet?
I do have a couple of service projects in the works, but not any policies yet.
Nice. So like you want to use your, I guess, position to help serve the community, which is admirable. I appreciate that, Emil.
Thank you.
All right. So the next thing is, what are the biggest problems at Downingtown County, in your opinion, and what can you do as a treasurer to fix these problems?
I think some of the biggest problems that we have at Downingtown East is that we're all so focused on so many different things. Sometimes our events or social events, so to speak, suffer. So I want to make sure that we are spending enough time preparing for these and putting things in a better light, so maybe we can get a higher turnout this year.
So you said you want to, like, the one thing you want to change, like getting more people involved in social events. That's your.
Exactly. Yes.
Thank you for clarifying. And so being a treasurer requires some expertise in mathematics and finance. Like, what qualifications do you have for the job, and why are you the ideal man for this?
So the qualifications I have is that I have served as treasurer before, treasurer of the sophomore class, and I've served as a treasurer for two organizations outside of school. A lot of this experience has come from just going through the motions, getting used to dealing with finances, working with educators. I tried to stay affluent during my time in 9th grade and 10th grade. And even though my last year was very stressful, I know that I definitely developed some skills that will be useful during my run this year.
So yeah, just like two things to clarify. Can you name the two organizations you treasured for? And I guess name a few skills that you learned from the pandemic.
So the other two organizations I treasured for were the Envirothon Club in middle school, and we have there was a small organization. I am not remembering the name at the moment, in which I also treasured for recently.
Perfect. And so skills you've learned over the past year, what are those and what can you apply? How can you apply those to your possible term as a treasurer?
I definitely adapted some resourcefulness, and considering the fact that our class has not raised much funds and we definitely want to make sure we keep prom prices low, I'm going to have to work on heavily increasing our fundraising to be able to compensate for that loss.
Great answer. Yeah. So who was treasurer last year and what can you learn and do differently from that person who was treasurer last year?
So I do not know who was treasurer last year, but I do remember the coast presidents from last year. I've talked with Pat before, and some things I've learned from his experiences is that he went through a lot to make the junior prom happen. And I saw some of the things that he had to put together, and he was under a time crunch because he was elected in the middle of the year. So what I want to make sure what happens is that I spend a bit more time planning and finalizing the events that we're going to have this year, like especially the shirts that are about to come up, because I don't want to have to face any time crunches from being last minute.
That's good. And so next thing is, so when you are in the position of treasurer, what type of leadership can we expect from you? Will you be more of a person of the people where you will listen to what people say and act based on popular opinion? Or will you have a clear pre-planned vision? Will you act on that pre-planned vision?
I consider myself to be a bit more of a dynamic person, though I have an outline, a plan of how I can imagine a prom would look like or when we would sell t-shirts. I am very open to student suggestions. For example, what exactly the theme might be. I wouldn't just take it upon myself. I don't already have a plan. I would be more than willing to hear people's ideas for things like that.
That's perfect. So that's great. So now when you get voted into office, what's the first thing you're going to do?
When I get voted into office, the first thing I'm going to do is work on the t-shirts. I know that those are upcoming and we definitely want our Beat West t-shirts. We want to maintain that tradition since last year it wasn't well maintained, came out a little late. So I want to make sure we get back into the habit of that. I also want to make sure that once again, we are incorporating the student suggestions into these shirts, and hopefully we can get enough sold out there because it'll also increase some school spirit.
Perfect. So if and when you get into office, how will you integrate with your fellow student leaders and will you be willing to compromise with the other people in the class council, I guess?
Yes, as I said, I'm dynamic, so I would be willing to hear the other ideas that the other class officers will have. And more than that, I would be willing to take inspiration for them. For example, there was this teacher who had a student that ran, and giving full credit to them that they came up with the idea for a week-long service activity, senior week, where kids come and help senior citizens. And that it's under the name of our senior class. Again, part of that legacy building.
I got that. Thank you, Hemel. So you're, to clarify, so what you want to do is work with your fellow classmates, compromise, so you can all build a collective legacy for the class. Got it?
Got it, yes.
Perfect. So other than TYV, which is Young Voters, obviously, how else do you plan on advertising yourself and getting your message out to the people?
So far I've tried to do posters. I've talked to a lot of kids in the hallway. Definitely plan on getting another form of communication out there by tomorrow. But if it isn't possible, we'll see what happens.
All right. So the next thing is, can I pitch you a campaign slogan?
Sure.
Are you familiar with like Joe Biden, right? Like how he can settle for Biden?
Yeah,
Can you just settle for Hemmel? Like it rhymes, right? Like settle for Hemmel.
sure. Actually, that might be a good idea for my next poster.
Settle for Hemmel, guys. You heard it here first. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Like tell us or the audience?
As of right now, I may not have a fully clear plan of what we're going to do this year, but I know that if we work together, I can make certain things happen. I've had experience with working with these educators, long range relations that I think that would really help make some of our goals this year come to fruition.
Yep. So finally is, do you have any message you'd like to broadcast to the senior class?
There's a lot of messages going out these days, but I'd say that one message that really needs to get out is that the legacy that they built in this last year may be really important, but it's also important that they don't spend all their time looking out into the future. They start focusing on having a good time here right now, because this is supposed to be your prime time, your best year.
Perfect. So everyone, like, please comment below thanking Hemmel for coming onto the show. And Hemmel, we at TYB would like to thank you for giving the time of your day to come on our show.
No, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
And so for anyone in the audience, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and like tell everyone in your family to subscribe to it. Mother, father, you know the drill. Aunties, uncles, cousins, second cousins. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching and have a nice day, everyone.